Hello, dear listeners, and welcome to another episode of Field Notes, a podcast from BL on all things agribusiness. I'm your host, TR Vivek. Among the many problems that Indian agriculture faces is the absence of quality standards in the farm to fork chain. The lack of standards means farmers have no incentive to innovate and produce qualitatively better food. It also takes away from the consumer's option of buying better. Even globally, determining the quality of farm produce is largely a subjective exercise. It often involves conjecture. Usually, farm commodities are put through physical parameter tests, which include touch and feel, visual appeal, smell, and taste. As a result, the ability of farmers who grow higher quality of food or pesticide or chemical free produce, they can't command a premium. AgNext, a Chandigarh-based agritech startup, could well be among the first in the world to crack this conundrum in a manner that is scalable even in a vast and diverse country like India. It uses computer vision, a field of engineering that deals with computers analyzing information with digital images and videos, spectral analytics, Internet of Things, and artificial intelligence. AgNext devices and technology platform, the company claims, can analyze produce quality from milk to grains to tea in about 30 seconds. It's like an MRI scanner for food. To tell us more about this interesting deep tech innovation, we are joined by Taranjeet Singh Bhamra, the 42-year-old founder of AgNext. Taran is an IIM Calcutta and IIM Kharagpur alum who chucked up a career in consulting and investment banking in 2015 to pursue his ambition of starting a business that could help Indian farmers. Hello and welcome to Field Notes, Taran.
Thank you. Thank you so much. It's such a pleasure, Vivek.
Taran, for our viewers, tell us, what does AgNext do? What problem does it solve? It almost seems fantastical to imagine that you could analyze all the parameters of an agricultural produce straight out of the farm in 30 seconds.
Yes. Yes. So as you rightly pointed out, Vivek, most of the $1 trillion worth of trade that keeps happening at a farm gate, at a warehouse, at a factory, happens on basically two axes: the axis of quantity and the axis of quality, which means any price function, any buying decision is a function of quantity and quality. Quantity by its very inherent nature is very mathematically defined, but quality is not defined at all. It is entirely subjective, left to very crude evaluations of millions of dollars of commodity that I am going to buy. And this leaves a lot of issues in the supply chain of food value chain, where whether it's a procurer is at a farm gate, or it is at a warehouse, or it is at a factory, they all need a proper definitive understanding of the quality they are buying. So what AgNext has done is not something, I won't get into much details about how many algorithms or how many patents, or what's the deep science that we have brought in. But what we have actually done is how a human body could now be solved by just kind of doing an MRI and knowing that where the issues are in the whole body. Can we develop a similar technology for food is what AgNext started with. Because effectively what we are trying to do here is we are trying to digitize every transaction that happens in the food value chain. So if you are able to analyze any grain, any leaf, any liquid, and say that, okay, this is the inherent quality at which you are buying, then for the buyer it becomes a big assurance of trade that I am buying this quality from X location, which is digitized by AgNext, and it ensures that I buy with the right pricing. Now that's the entire business model on which we started with. We started with tea, where when the tea needs to be analyzed, we brought computer vision And we took more than 500,000 data samples of tea leaves to analyze every which ways a tea leaf quality can be ascertained, whether it's a two leaf and a bud, one leaf and a bud, three leaf. There are multiple quality parameters just on visual inspection that is done. We replace that entirely by a computer vision technology. Now, literally all the tea gardens companies want this technology so that they are assured that so many trucks of buying that they are doing every day, that is, it goes in crores of buying every day. They are able to ensure that they are buying at the right price.
Right.
This is
Karan, let's stick to this example of tea. Can you tell us, how conventionally tea is, when it is plucked from the estates, how it is brought in, how is tea quality tested, and what role then does AgNext devices play?
Yeah. When it comes to tea, most of us have this nice vision of ladies plucking in the gardens of Assam, right? That's the vision we most remember with. So what they are effectively doing there is picking up the top layer of the tea, I would say plants, whether it's a tree actually, and putting it up into the basket. This basket is then put into a truck, which is around 2 tons or 2,000 kgs of tea leaves. And then these are taken to the factories where these tea leaves are then taken through a process to make the tea. Now, the quality of the tea that comes out and the pricing also at which a processor is able to sell further in the market, it all depends about how much of these tea leaves have a better shoot, or I would say a better fine leaf, it is called. So what is fine leaf? Fine leaf is a combination of, if you have one bud and two leaves by the side, which is the topmost of the tree leaves, that means the more percentage of that is there, the better the quality of the tea will come. Now, so what they do is out of the 2-ton truck, they take some sample, they put it on the table. This sample was just 100 gram of a 2-ton truck, which is actually not that great representative sample of the whole truck. But it used to be done very manually, where it is to be taken, it was to be spread, and then okay, it is 32% fine leaf in this. We will pay you this much price. Now imagine with 50 trucks coming, every day in a factory, it is nearly
So it's a
impossible.
very rough and ready method. It is.
Very rough and ready. And the processors lose a lot of money because any assessment goes haywire both sides. And
But
even
this process of randomly taking a sort of fistful of a sample from a truckload of produce, I'm sure this is not just with tea, but it applies to all other agricultural produce as well, be it grains, pulses.
it is applied everywhere in the world. Every industry, whether it's a mustard or a grain, a wheat or a paddy, you name any industry, they have defined their own sampling methods. So, whether it's at a warehouse or whether the commodities in the truck, they have their sampling methods that out of this lot, we will take this much of sample and that will become the representation of the whole lot. So the analysis is done on the sample itself. That's an accepted, I would say, practice across the world, across any commodity value chain. And that's how the pricing is also estimated. This is what we are solving, where one, we can increase the sample size. So for example, the technology that we made in tea, we increase it to from 100 gram to a 5 kilo. So it's almost 50x, and no human intervention. This is entirely done by a machine using computer vision and some more technologies, which kind of now tell us that a 5 kilo, what is the fine leaf count in that. So once you know that, you are able to determine that, okay, I should buy it at this price because I would get this quality out of it. So this is just one simple example of tea. Then we got into turmeric, then we got into grains, then we got
Tell
into
me, Karan, tell me something. If this is the standard practice worldwide, then why innovate? Why fix something that is not broken? If every part of the chain is happy with the existing system, What's the problem?
I think it is the same problem that everything we had trams and tongas, and we were why we need a tram, why need a metro, and why need airplanes to go from one city to other. It is as akin to that, because these practices are very 50, 60, 100 years old, and the entire assessments when there was not much the kind of food volumes that we are getting, and not much investments were there today. I mean, today everyone has scaled 10x to 100x, and they are not able to manage with what 50-year-old technologies used to be there. Or I won't even call it a technology, of people, right? So you need technologies everywhere to disrupt, and when we are talking about medical systems, when you are talking about transportation systems, you talk about education systems, everywhere technology is being brought in to manage the quantum of overall movement that is happening in that industry, right? Earlier, if you call it, even the nadi guy, only 5 people used to visit. Today 5,000 people visit a hospital every day. You can't put a nadi guy and say that I'll tell you everything about you. It does not work that way. So industry needs full disruption, and when you are doing billions and trillions of transactions, digitizing quality, if you're not digitizing quality, it leads to humongous losses in the downstream. Leave aside to the farmer, but the buyers face the biggest issue, and that's where I think our proposition remains a B2B sale to these buyers, as a technology which they imbibe in their own buying process, and then they take it forward to multiple procurement centers that they are undertaking. So I think it becomes a very B2B proposition. So we are never selling to farmers. We are only selling to corporates. And today we are present in 5 countries. And in India, we are operating right from uh, Kanyakumari to Kashmir, and uh, from the west to the east, where our technologies are being used. We are in total of around 1,500 locations in India today, and I think we will expand this significantly uh, to take this technology wherever buying is happening.
Uh, Describe to us what the machine does, what kind of commodities it analyzes,
Yeah.
and what are the parameters it can tell the buyer and the farmer. I saw on your website images of some of the machines that you use. They look like pretty much like desktop printers, the size of desktop printers, or some large Xerox machine, photocopy machines.
Yes. So the inherent parameters that we intend to analyze are divided into two, actually, based on multiple industries, how they analyze. For example, the tea leaf primarily is analyzed on the physical characteristic of how much is what is the configuration of the tea leaves that are being bought, and that's why we use computer vision, something which analyzes through vision, or the eyes, which was used to be done earlier. But there are a lot of industries, food industries, which buys food based on the chemical nature of the food. For example, milk is bought on two parameters: fat and solid non-fat. So whenever a farmer brings it to a milk company, the company will analyze the milk fat content and the solid non-fat content in that, and based on that, they will pay it up. So, for example, mustard, if they are buying, they buy it on the mustard content in the in that mustard that they are buying. Similarly, if I talk about spices, it is a combination of both physical, how good are the chili pods, whether they're broken, etc. There are 6-7 parameters, but also on, what is the heat value and what is the capsaicin value, which pretty much defines how good or how spicy the spice is. Right now, you cannot do that with eyes. You will have to take it to a lab. So people used to do all that in milk using a device, spices using a lab, mustard using a lab. What we did is new technology packaged, an old technology actually packaged into a new format, which is spectral sciences. And we worked with AI on the edge so that this works in any part of India. And then we built our own algorithms which can analyze these the chemical content in the commodity. So these devices are like very small portable devices which you can take to any warehouse, any factory where the commodities are coming. You instantly put it, take a sample, put it inside, and you will, within 1 minute you will get the analysis about what is the chemical composition of that. So when the buyers are buying, they know what is the physical parameters and what are the chemical parameters. Based on that, they ensure that what they are buying is all digital, and they are able to build a price on that. So that's the two technologies that we work across the spectrum of commodities that we are working. So milk has only chemical, mustard has both chemical and physical. Grains like wheat, we do gluten and protein, which is very critical now. Where high gluten wheat is, where low gluten wheat is, and also the physical parameters of broken, shriveled, etc., which are done by the trading community. So that's why AgNext becomes a unique proposition in this world, where agri value chains can use AgNext tech not just for physical analysis but also for chemical analysis, and hence that's the combination which makes us one of the most, I would say, valuable company for B2B trade to happen in commodity world.
Right. And all of these tests are instantaneous.
These are all instantaneous. They don't use cloud. That's another benefit that we have. And these have huge implications because if we would have used cloud, then we would have been slow. We would not have been able to work, in remote warehouses, remote areas. Today, one can just take our tech in a jhola, as I call it. Take it in a jhola, just go anywhere, and you can start, building your digital profile for your buying. So I think that's where we worked on making them instantaneous and not at all dependent on any other infrastructure. So these are all standalone tech, in instant, rapid, on the spot.
In conventional trading, say, take the example of a company like ITC, which procures a whole range of agricultural produce from spices to grains, etc. What in the conventional world, what would the testing processes be? How long would it take?
Incidentally, the company you named, we are working massively. So, a company like ITC, for example, if they are buying wheat, for which they are a leader, right? They are doing, I think, more than 4 million tons of wheat every year. The traditional systems were, about everything is about quality. So they know this region, this area, this quality will come. This region, this will come. And these are all traditional systems that are written by people and passed generations to generations within ITC itself. There are no digital formats of, from which block, from which area, what kind of quality is coming, where we can get high gluten, where we can get low gluten. And if we have high gluten, where can we sell it? Because most of our clients are making money not by saving on procurement of 3 to 4%. They're actually making money by selling it better quality in the market. So the idea is that, ITC use our technology so that they know that, we are building a digital profile for entire procurement, which is massive. And they know, create a better procurement strategy about, from where, what pricing we should get in, because we know the quality, and what interventions are needed for the farmers. Because if somebody is, let's say, we need higher gluten, then what is it that we can work with the farmers to, make it a higher gluten wheat. Similarly, for them, whether it is spices, whether it is, even milk, we are talking with that company, but there are others, we are talking to multiple others, where they want to use this technology to ensure that the procurement systems becomes much better for them.
Government is by far the largest procurer and warehouser of agricultural produce, with organizations like FCI and NAFED having hundreds of millions of tons of agricultural produce in their warehouses. This would be ideal for them to keep stock of the quality of goods in their warehouses, and then therefore how to liquidate what on priority.
Oh yes, oh yes. This is a big need of the national procurers. We are working with NAFED all over India. There are others also, state procurers, with whom we are working. And what you just mentioned is exactly what they are looking at, because all the quality that used to come, it was, I mean, it was noted down, but nothing like inventory by inventory where exactly what quality is being there. So a better pricing in the market could be rendered. Otherwise, it's just kind of a flat quality being undertaken to the market. So this will have great revenue potential for the state and the government. Uh, I mean, central government, and all the national procurers are actually approaching AgNext for the same. So I think we have just started with few, but I clearly see that everyone will move to this. So
How is the farming community reacting to AgNext? Are they cursing you, or do they love you? Because I can imagine a lot of companies rejecting a lot of produce from the farmers or giving them lesser money, claiming that this
yeah,
is not of the standards that they require.
yeah, I would not say the farming. I think any honest transaction is a great transaction for the both buyer and the seller. It is the unscrupulous elements which are not happy. So I think that's where AgNext's mission to bring transparency and digitizing the value chain is working, because a lot often it happens that people come with very, there are a lot of malpractices in the public system of procuring, where things are covered up, things are mixed up, things are not digitized. So I think those are the elements which are getting jittery about, and we have faced it very brave bravely overall. And so did our clients as well. So I think it's a great testimony. In fact, rather than a challenge, I see it as a testimony of we becoming successful in ensuring that farmers get the right price. So I think that revolution has just started with this technology. So I'm not at all worried, or I'm not at all concerned about once in a while these unscrupulous elements kind of entering into our system and challenging it, because it's part of the deal.
Is it actually incentivizing the farmers to innovate and grow better?
Oh yes, oh yes. Because see, if you see the whole white revolution, uh, the whole thing was a farmer was able to see that if a lactometer gives me 8%, I get a better price. I was selling 6, so he himself, or he or her himself, went back and started working to make an output of 8% fat. And I think that's what we are doing for every other commodity in the world, because the moment farmers uh, come to know that hey, what there is a grading, and I'm able to get a price for better quality, so the whole revolution starts there. It's like it's right at the intersection of buying and selling that you can have the maximum technology. That's what I believe. That because it's 6 months of an effort of a farmer is being decided in 6 minutes. So you cannot have very subjective or a biased or scrupulous judgments being passed on. So I think the trust that the farmer gains, and eventually the ecosystem ownership by both the buyer and the seller, owning technology and ensuring transaction happens with that, has a massive effect. So I'm pretty happy about what as a story we started and what we are doing. Although it's the journey required a huge amount of patience and huge amount of technology focus. But I think now we are building layers of business, and it is very satisfactory to see that we will be one of the companies which will take technology from India to a global level.
What next for AgNext? In terms of precision analysis, are you likely to add more devices and lines of service to the business?
Yes, uh, our innovation is immensely rich, and I think over the 5 years that we have worked, we have. I mean, if you see our devices, if you see our overall tech, it's enriched with any kind of food, any kind of place instantly. This required a lot of innovation on the tech side to understanding the agriculture value chain, etc., etc. So I think what's next for AgNext in this space is that we will leverage this 6 years of knowledge to build amazing concepts and amazing applications for global food value chains. So I think we are just shortly coming up. We have tied up with Indian Institute of Science and a US university to work on magnetic resonance, which is a new technology that we'll be bringing in, which will be analyzing food amazingly. I mean, you can even do isotopes in that. You can analyze honey, you can analyze meat, you can analyze so many other products which cannot be currently done and require very expensive suit of lab. I think we will be able to do on the spot with such technologies. And apart from that, I think the team has innovated multiple other products. There are two patented products, which we incidentally have been just innovating for the last 4 years. They're just shortly coming into the market, and the demand is amazing. We have which saves quality at multiple value chains in the system. One saves from the food to get wasted, and the other saves a lot on the pesticides front. So these are just new innovations that AgNext has the capability to take it globally. So I think what's next for AgNext is very interesting things, which we have been working very thoroughly and very diligently. And if you ask me, other than products, what's next for AgNext, it is I'm focusing on three things right now. One is international. So we take this. We just opened up in UAE and Vietnam. We will be opening in other places in the next quarter. And I think second is internalization, which means that we have developed a series of technologies which we are now packaging into one platform for all our buyers, all our clients. And that's a very, very interesting proposition, because uh, they used to go to 15 other players to talk for one, for second, for third. We just package it very neatly into one platform and giving it as a subscription. So I think that's the second priority that I have for AgNext. And the third is, I think, India, because I truly believe that India is my third eye, or third focus, because I truly believe that the time is there now. And you just look at UAE corridor itself is 100 billion, and then Indo-Aus trade has just been signed. There are other countries which are signing, and I think there's enough, lot of capability within the company, and to utilize this opportunity and take India to the next level. So I think these are the three key focus, or three eyes I would be focused on.
Right. Tarun, finally, is there any commodity or agricultural produce that you have found challenging to analyze that your machines haven't yet cracked?
Everyone looks the same if we don't till we crack it. So when we started cattle feed, there were 14 raw material. It took us almost 2 years to do this. Tea took us 2.5 years. So a I mean, I don't think any other company has gone to these levels of details. So many have fallen off in the third or sixth month itself, while we persisted till the second year or third year. So I think everything is solvable if we just know the right process, and the right means to execute those processes. So I think that is what we have wholeheartedly done. So what we used to do 2 years, I think now we will just do it in less than 2 weeks. It's just because we know the algos, we know the game, we know what elements to analyze, etc., etc. So, but one value chain which is very intriguing for me, and which I personally like to solve, although I am a vegetarian, is the meat industry. So I think that is about to come in our portfolio. We will be working on it in much more detail, because I need to understand the global markets for it, and where the value prop for comes in. So I think that is something is very, very interesting and very intriguing for me personally. But I think I'll leave it to the team to come together and see where we kind of take it forward.
Taran, on that note, thank you very much for joining us on Field Notes this week. Until we meet next time, goodbye and God bless.
Sure. Until we meet next time. Thank you so much, Vivek. It was such a pleasure to be here.